Imagine waking up every morning with a sense of purpose so strong that laziness doesn't even get a chance to knock on your door. Laziness isn't something we are born with. It's a habit, a pattern we allow to grow when we don't take control of our first moments each day. And the truth is, how you start your morning determines how you show up in every hour that follows. The first step is clarity. When you wake up, you need to know why you are getting out of bed. Most people wake up, scroll through their phones, and let external noise dictate their mindset. But the people who achieve more, who feel motivated and productive, they wake up with intention. Even a simple 10-minute reflection on what matters to you and what you want to achieve today sets a tone that laziness cannot penetrate. Next is movement. Physical activity in the morning, even if it's just stretching or a short walk, ignites energy in your body. Energy is the enemy of lethargy. When your body moves, your mind shifts. You begin to feel alive, alert, and ready to tackle challenges rather than hide from them. Movement in the morning is not just about fitness. It's about signaling to your mind that you are ready to take action, that idleness has no place in your day. The third element is discipline over comfort. Laziness thrives in comfort zones, warm beds, cozy blankets, the urge to postpone life for just 5 more minutes. Breaking that pattern requires a deliberate choice to act even when it's uncomfortable. Making your bed immediately after waking up is a small, seemingly trivial act, but it sends a powerful signal to your subconscious your day starts with a victory. Small wins in the morning multiply throughout your day. Next, feed your mind with positive input. Most people wake up and consume random information, news, social media, or notifications that pull them into stress or comparison. Instead, start your day with content that elevates you. Read a chapter of a book, listen to an insightful podcast, or write down what you are grateful for. The first thoughts of your day shape your energy and your focus. A mind filled with inspiration is a mind that doesn't allow laziness to settle in. Finally, structure your first hour. Successful mornings are not left to chance. They are intentional. Allocate time for planning, reflection, movement, and growth. When your morning has a structure that empowers you, laziness finds no foothold. You are not fighting an endless battle against procrastination. You are taking control of your life from the moment your eyes open. Every habit you create in the morning either reinforces laziness or fights it. If you want to live a life of purpose, energy, and impact, you must start with the first hour. Laziness is not a trait, it's a choice. And every morning, you have the power to choose differently. Fef keynotes of the speech. Wake up with clarity and intention to direct your day rather than letting external distractions control you. Incorporate physical movement in the morning to energize the body and mind, creating momentum against laziness. Exercise discipline by choosing action over comfort, even in small tasks like making your bed. Feed your mind with positive, inspiring input instead of random distractions that drain focus. Structure the first hour of your day with deliberate habits to create momentum, purpose, and productivity. Waking up with clarity and intention is not just a habit. It is the foundation of every productive, meaningful day. When most people wake up, they do so almost mechanically, as if their body is moving on autopilot. The alarm goes off, they reach for their phone, scroll through notifications, check messages, and allow their mind to be filled with other people's priorities before they even have a chance to think about their own. This is not a neutral way to begin a day. It is a slow surrender of control. When you begin your morning this way, you hand over the power of your thoughts, energy, and decisions to random stimuli outside of your control. Laziness thrives in this environment because there is no conscious effort to set direction. The first moments after waking are the most critical. In those minutes, your brain is like soft clay, malleable, and ready to be shaped. What you choose to place in that space becomes the blueprint for how you show up in the next 12 hours. Clarity begins with asking yourself a simple but powerful question: why am I waking up today? Not what am I going to do, not what I need to check first, but why. Purpose is not a vague idea, it is a guiding force. It can be as simple as committing to improving yourself in some way, dedicating time to your health, or advancing toward a long-term goal that matters deeply to you. When you have clarity about why your day exists, you transform from a passive participant to an active creator of your reality. You are no longer letting circumstances dictate your actions. Instead, your intentions dictate your choices. This is a crucial step in defeating laziness because laziness thrives when actions are optional or aimless. If your morning has a clear destination, the energy required to move, act, and create becomes intrinsic rather than imposed. Developing this clarity is not a complicated process. It can be as simple as taking 5 or 10 minutes in silence after waking up to reflect on your priorities. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and ask yourself what is most important today. Visualize the moments ahead and see yourself taking actions aligned with your goals. Imagine the satisfaction of accomplishing even small tasks with focus and integrity. This small investment in clarity is incredibly powerful because it creates mental momentum. Thoughts are like seeds. What you plant first in the morning grows throughout the day. If you plant confusion, distraction, or indecision, those will sprout and laziness will feel justified. If you plant purpose, focus, and intention, your entire day moves in alignment with that energy. Another aspect of morning clarity is planning, but not in a mechanical or rigid way. Planning with clarity means identifying your priorities before external pressures arrive. When your mind is clear and intentional, it can recognize what truly matters versus what simply demands attention. This prevents the day from being consumed by trivial tasks, notifications, or other people's emergencies. Laziness often appears as procrastination, but more often it appears as distraction. Without clarity, your attention becomes scattered, energy is wasted, and the mind seeks comfort over action. Intentional mornings eliminate this because they direct your energy toward what matters most, giving you both focus and motivation to follow through. Clarity also influences the emotional tone of your morning. When you wake with intention, you are less reactive to frustration, delays, or obstacles because your day has a defined purpose. You understand why you are doing what you are doing, and every small task contributes to a larger picture. Laziness tends to flourish in uncertainty and indecision because it is easier to postpone effort than to confront ambiguity. Morning clarity creates a mental roadmap that reduces hesitation. It is not about rigid schedules or forcing productivity. It is about aligning your actions with your values, goals, and priorities from the very first moment you wake up. Finally, waking with clarity builds confidence. Every day you begin with intention, you reinforce the belief that you are in control of your life. Laziness is often rooted in doubt, the sense that effort is futile or that circumstances are too complex to manage. Clarity combats this because it gives you a framework for action. Even if the day presents challenges, the first hour of purpose-driven action creates momentum that carries forward. By consistently starting each morning with clear intent, you condition yourself to approach the day proactively, to see opportunities rather than obstacles, and to act decisively rather than delay. In essence, clarity in the morning is not a superficial exercise. It is the antidote to passivity. It transforms waking up from a routine into a deliberate act of creation. The mind that begins with purpose is resistant to laziness because it already knows where it is going, why it is going, and what it is willing to do to get there. When you consistently invest in this practice, laziness loses its power, and your days become purposeful, productive, and energizing. Incorporating physical movement into your morning is one of the most powerful tools to defeat laziness, yet it is often overlooked. The human body is designed for motion, and when we wake up after hours of rest, our muscles are stiff, our circulation is slow, and our energy is dormant. Laziness thrives in stillness because the body and mind are closely connected. When the body feels sluggish, the mind unconsciously follows. Moving your body, even in small ways, signals to your brain that the day has begun and that you are ready to take action. Movement is not only about fitness, it is a form of communication with yourself, a message that says, I am awake, I am present, and I am capable of creating momentum. The beauty of morning movement lies in its simplicity. It does not have to be intense or exhausting. Stretching, walking, light yoga, or a few minutes of bodyweight exercises are enough to activate the nervous system and increase blood flow. This physical activation releases endorphins, the body's natural energy boosters, and helps the mind shake off the fog of sleep. Laziness often disguises itself as tiredness or lack of motivation, but the truth is that movement generates the very energy that laziness tries to suppress. The act of moving becomes a declaration. You are choosing life over lethargy, action over passivity. Morning movement also has a psychological effect. It trains the mind to associate action with reward. The first hour of the day sets a precedent, a standard for how you show up in every hour that follows. When you begin the day by moving your body, you create a sense of accomplishment before you even sit down to work. This initial win is critical because laziness is not simply a lack of willpower. It is a lack of momentum. Momentum starts with a small action, and the body's movement naturally creates it. Once you experience the energy and clarity that come from engaging your muscles, your mind feels capable of taking on bigger challenges. Another key element is the habit-forming power of routine. When you consistently move in the morning, you build a rhythm that conditions both your body and mind. Over time, your brain begins to expect activity, and the absence of it creates a subtle tension, a signal that something is missing. Laziness struggles in the presence of this routine because the habit itself becomes a motivator. Your body becomes aligned with productivity, and the natural flow of energy discourages inertia. This is why even small repeated actions matter. A 10-minute walk, a few stretches, or a short jog can transform your mental state and create a foundation for sustained motivation throughout the day. Movement in the morning also enhances focus and mental clarity. Physical activity increases oxygen flow to the brain, stimulating neural activity and improving cognitive function. When the mind is alert and sharp, laziness loses its grip. Tasks that once felt daunting suddenly seem manageable, and your decision-making becomes faster and more precise. Movement, therefore, is not only about physical energy, it is about mental preparedness. It is a way to prime your mind to think clearly, act decisively, and approach your goals with purpose. The type of movement matters less than the intention behind it. Many people delay exercise because they think it must be intense or time-consuming. In reality, even simple actions performed with awareness can have a profound impact. What matters is consistency and deliberate engagement. The body responds to signals, and when it senses that you are initiating motion rather than succumbing to inertia, it adjusts your energy levels, your mood, and your readiness to act. Laziness has no foothold in a body that is moving with purpose. Morning movement also connects you to your own sense of agency. It is a reminder that you are in control of your energy and that action precedes motivation. Many wait for inspiration to strike or for the mood to feel right before they act, but the truth is that energy and motivation often follow action, not the other way around. Moving your body in the morning is the simplest way to generate this energy, creating a feedback loop where physical activity fuels mental clarity, confidence, and drive. The act itself becomes a statement of self-discipline, and self-discipline is the antidote to laziness. Finally, movement sets a tone of respect toward yourself. When you honor your body with motion, you are signaling that your well-being and potential matter. Laziness often emerges when self-respect is diminished or ignored. By dedicating even a small part of your morning to physical activity, you reinforce the idea that you are worth the effort, that your life is worth intentional action. This perspective gradually reshapes the way you approach every challenge, turning inertia into momentum and passivity into productivity. Discipline over comfort is one of the most decisive factors in breaking the cycle of laziness, yet it is also one of the hardest habits to cultivate. Laziness thrives in the spaces where comfort dominates, where we choose ease over effort, warmth over action, and delay over decisiveness. Every morning presents a choice between comfort and discipline, and it is in these small decisions that our character and productivity are forged. Comfort is seductive because it feels effortless, but it is deceptive. It promises peace while secretly feeding inertia and passivity. Discipline, on the other hand, demands effort, but it creates momentum, builds resilience, and shapes the life you want to live. It is the invisible engine that transforms intention into action. The practice of discipline begins with recognizing the small moments where comfort tempts you to delay. The first moment you wake up is critical. The bed is warm, your body is cozy, and the urge to stay under the blanket for just 5 more minutes can feel overwhelming. This is where discipline makes its first stand. Choosing to get up immediately, making the bed, and starting the day with purposeful action sends a message to your subconscious mind. It tells your brain that you are the driver of your life, that comfort will not dictate your actions, and that small victories matter. These seemingly trivial acts are, in reality, the foundation for larger achievements because discipline is cumulative. Every morning decision to prioritize action over comfort compounds over time, building an unstoppable habit of productivity. Discipline over comfort is not about perfection or rigidity. It is about consistent choices that align with your goals and values. It is about showing up even when it is inconvenient, uncomfortable, or inconveniently early. When you choose discipline, you reinforce a mindset of ownership. Laziness thrives when you feel entitled to rest, delay, or postponement. Discipline challenges this mindset by reminding you that the life you desire requires intentional effort. By consistently choosing action over comfort, you create a psychological framework in which inertia is no longer an option. You teach yourself that your energy, time, and focus are resources to be invested deliberately rather than squandered in indulgent delay. The power of discipline becomes even more evident when you consider the ripple effects throughout your day. Starting the morning with a deliberate act of self-control, making the bed, completing a small task, or following through on a planned habit sets a precedent. Your brain associates the day with accomplishment and readiness. Laziness is weakened because the first win has already been claimed, creating momentum that carries into the next task and the next. Each small act of discipline compounds, transforming what could be an aimless, reactive day into one of deliberate, meaningful progress. This is why champions in every field, from business to sports, emphasize the importance of morning discipline. It is not about controlling every moment, but about claiming the critical first hour of the day in a way that fortifies your focus, energy, and resolve. Discipline over comfort also cultivates resilience. Life is full of moments that demand action when you don't feel like it. Developing the habit of choosing action in small, manageable ways strengthens your ability to face challenges in larger, more complex situations. When you consistently resist the pull of comfort, you build mental toughness, confidence, and a sense of self-efficacy. Laziness loses its grip because it no longer appears as a tempting refuge. It is met with a mind and body trained to act regardless of desire or circumstance. Discipline transforms discomfort from an obstacle into a signal, a reminder that growth and progress are occurring even when the experience is challenging. Moreover, choosing discipline over comfort is a demonstration of self-respect. Laziness often arises when we undervalue our own potential or take our time for granted. By committing to small, disciplined actions in the morning, you affirm that your life goals and well-being are worth the effort. You communicate to yourself, silently but powerfully, that you deserve to invest energy in your growth, and that shortcuts, delay, or indulgence will not define your day. The morning becomes a microcosm of life itself. Each decision matters. Each choice builds or erodes momentum, and each act of discipline compounds into character. Ultimately, discipline over comfort is the practice of taking control in a world that constantly tempts you to settle. Laziness is never just a result of tiredness or lack of resources. It is a consequence of surrendering to comfort instead of acting with intention. The disciplined individual understands that every morning presents an opportunity to claim victory over inertia. By embracing small, deliberate acts of effort, you create a rhythm of purpose, energy, and accomplishment that carries through every hour of the day, transforming what could be ordinary mornings into powerful catalysts for growth. Feeding your mind with positive input in the morning is one of the most underestimated ways to combat laziness, yet it has a profound impact on energy, focus, and productivity. Most people begin their day by immersing themselves in random information, emails, social media, news alerts, or messages that immediately pull attention outward instead of inward. This creates mental clutter before a single intentional action is taken. The mind is like a sponge when it first wakes up, absorbing whatever is placed in front of it. If the first input is distraction, negativity, or stress, it sets a tone of reactivity, fatigue, and indecision. Laziness finds fertile ground in a mind that is overwhelmed, uncertain, or uninspired. In contrast, feeding the mind with uplifting, educational, or empowering input in the morning acts like fuel. It primes the brain, sharpens focus, and aligns thoughts with action, creating a powerful momentum that carries throughout the day. Positive input is not about ignoring reality or avoiding challenges. It is about consciously choosing what shapes your mental state at the start of the day. Listening to an insightful podcast, reading a chapter of an inspiring book, or even spending a few minutes journaling thoughts of gratitude sets a foundation for clarity and intention. The brain begins to expect value, meaning, and purpose from the very first moments, making laziness less appealing. When the mind feels engaged and inspired, it naturally seeks action rather than avoidance. It is no longer looking for excuses to delay or procrastinate. It is eager to express the energy and insight that have been cultivated in these initial moments. The habit of feeding your mind positively also improves decision-making and problem-solving. Laziness often arises not from a lack of energy, but from mental fatigue or overwhelm. When the mind is overloaded with random stressful or trivial information first thing in the morning, even small tasks seem daunting. Positive mental input acts like a reset, clearing mental fog and giving the brain a sense of structure, perspective, and readiness. It shifts the focus from what is missing, uncomfortable, or uncertain to what is possible, actionable, and valuable. The difference in mindset is immediate. The day feels like a series of opportunities rather than a series of burdens, and action replaces hesitation. Another critical aspect is the role of inspiration and motivation. Laziness thrives in an environment where the mind is uninspired or disconnected from a larger purpose. Morning routines that incorporate meaningful content, whether it is reading about personal growth, learning a new skill, or reflecting on goals, inject a sense of direction and purpose. This sense of purpose becomes a mental anchor, making distractions and comfort less enticing. When you internalize ideas that challenge, educate, and uplift you, laziness begins to feel counterproductive, almost unnatural. The brain becomes wired to seek growth and achievement because it has been exposed to thoughts and some perspectives that stimulate action. Gratitude and mindfulness are also essential forms of positive input. Spending a few minutes reflecting on what you are grateful for or focusing on the present moment has a profound impact on emotional resilience. Laziness is often fueled by stress, fear, or self-doubt. Gratitude shifts the mind toward abundance, capability, and self-appreciation, creating a mental environment where motivation can flourish. Mindfulness, on the other hand, improves focus and attention, allowing you to approach tasks deliberately instead of drifting aimlessly. Together, these practices act like mental hygiene, clearing negativity and reinforcing a mindset of energy, optimism, and intentionality. Consistency amplifies the effect of positive mental input. Doing it sporadically provides temporary boosts, but when it becomes a ritual, it fundamentally rewires the brain to expect and prioritize productive, inspired thought first thing in the morning. Laziness cannot compete with a mind that is trained to engage, learn, and reflect daily. Over time, this practice cultivates curiosity, resilience, and creativity, which naturally feed action. Every day becomes an opportunity to grow, improve, and contribute rather than a day to merely get through. Feeding your mind positively also influences behavior beyond mental state. Thoughts drive actions, and actions shape habits. A morning filled with deliberate, empowering input sets a trajectory for the rest of the day. Tasks that once felt heavy or optional are approached with energy and clarity. Priorities are easier to identify, and procrastination loses its appeal. The act of beginning with value creates a ripple effect, reinforcing a cycle of purposeful thought, decisive action, and meaningful accomplishment. Ultimately, choosing what enters your mind first each day is an act of self-leadership. Laziness thrives when the mind is passive, reactive, and uncurated. By deliberately selecting positive, inspiring, and educational input, you strengthen your mental resilience, sharpen your focus, and cultivate the energy required to act. The morning becomes not just a beginning, but a declaration your day will be intentional, productive, and aligned with your highest potential. Structuring the first hour of your day is one of the most powerful strategies for defeating laziness, yet it is also one of the most overlooked. Most people allow their mornings to unfold haphazardly, responding to whatever appears first, a phone notification, a random thought, or the temptation to stay in bed. In doing so, they surrender control of their energy, focus, and time. Laziness thrives in chaos because there is no framework to guide action. The first hour, however, is a unique window of opportunity. It is a time when your mind is fresh, your energy is relatively untapped, and your habits have the greatest potential to set the tone for the day. By structuring this hour intentionally, you create an environment in which laziness cannot survive. The power of structure lies in predictability combined with purpose. When you know exactly how you will spend the first hour, your brain wastes less energy deciding what to do and resists distraction. Structure provides a roadmap guiding you through reflection, movement, and preparation before the external world begins to demand attention. The moment you wake, if you immediately have a plan, you remove the space where procrastination and inertia typically arise. Laziness is often rooted in uncertainty and indecision. By clearly defining your morning, you neutralize the conditions that allow it to take hold. Every action becomes intentional rather than reactive. A well-structured morning begins with prioritizing actions that create momentum. This includes reflection, visualization, or setting intentions for the day. Spending even a few minutes clarifying what matters most focuses the mind on high-value activities instead of distractions. When you know what your first meaningful task is, the act of starting becomes simple. Laziness fades when action is inevitable, natural, and rewarding. Structure also allows for physical movement, which energizes the body and signals readiness to the mind. By incorporating motion into the routine, you ensure that mental clarity is paired with physical alertness, creating a foundation of sustained energy that carries through the day. Another element of structured mornings is deliberate consumption of input. Feeding the mind with inspiring, educational, or motivational material is far more effective when it is planned rather than accidental. Structure allows you to dedicate time to reading, listening, or journaling without interruptions, creating a consistent environment for mental growth. This primes your mind to approach tasks with curiosity, focus, and creativity, making it far less likely to succumb to laziness. The first hour becomes a ritual of preparation, equipping you with both mental and physical resources to act decisively. Consistency is also critical. The effectiveness of structuring your morning grows exponentially over time. When the brain becomes accustomed to a sequence of deliberate actions, habits form automatically, reducing the reliance on willpower. Laziness thrives when actions require effort, but once routine is established, movement, reflection, and focus become second nature. This creates a self-reinforcing loop. The more you structure and follow your morning routine, the more energy, clarity, and motivation you accumulate, and the less room there is for procrastination or delay. Structured mornings also provide a sense of control and agency. In an unpredictable world, having a clear plan for the first hour anchors your mindset. You are no longer reacting to circumstances, you are shaping them. Laziness emerges when life feels uncontrollable or overwhelming, but structure counteracts this by providing certainty and direction. Every morning, you practice mastery over time, energy, and attention. This not only prepares you for the immediate day, but also cultivates a mindset of discipline and intentionality that carries into every area of life. The ripple effect of a structured first hour extends far beyond personal productivity. It impacts relationships, professional performance, and emotional resilience. When you start the day with focus, energy, and clear priorities, interactions with others are more thoughtful, decisions are sharper, and challenges are approached with calm and confidence. Laziness often appears as avoidance or delay in these areas, but a well-structured morning ensures that you are already operating at a higher level, leaving little room for procrastination to interfere. Ultimately, structuring the first hour of your day is about creating a deliberate foundation. Laziness is not defeated by willpower alone, it is defeated by environment, preparation, and momentum. By deciding in advance how you will spend this critical time, what actions, movements, reflections, and inputs will occur, you set a standard for the entire day. You shift from passivity to agency, from hesitation to decisiveness, and from fatigue to energy. The first hour becomes a declaration. Your day will be intentional, your actions deliberate, and your potential fully engaged. Every morning is a choice. It is a choice between surrendering to laziness or stepping into your power. The way you begin the day sends a ripple through every hour that follows. Waking with clarity gives your actions purpose. Moving your body energizes your mind and breaks the hold of inertia. Choosing discipline over comfort builds resilience and momentum. Feeding your mind with positive input sharpens focus and fuels motivation. Structuring the first hour of your day transforms chaos into a deliberate, unstoppable rhythm. Laziness is not a force outside of you, it is a habit you can overcome. Each morning presents a fresh opportunity to practice intention, action, and growth. The routines you build in these first moments are not trivial. They define how you show up in the world, how you approach challenges, and how you realize your potential. By committing to these practices consistently, you create a life where energy, purpose, and achievement are the default and laziness has no place to dwell. The morning is more than a time on the clock. It is a statement about who you are and who you are becoming. The routines you adopt today shape the results you experience tomorrow. Choose clarity, choose movement, choose discipline, choose inspiration, choose structure. Every small decision compounds, and over time, these choices make you unstoppable. Start your mornings intentionally, and you will start every day with the power to conquer laziness and achieve extraordinary results.